My dear students of the fourth year of Law English Department, welcome to our seventh and last lecture in this semester in Private International Law. So this will be the last lecture, and today we will make some practice about the final exam. So this lecture will be mainly a revision concerning several parts of the program, because as you know that last lecture we ended our program. So today we will make some quizzes together, and normally you know that on the website, on Moodle website, when you log in as a student, normally you are enrolled to our subject, and you are supposed to resolve 3 quizzes in our subject. So you will find those quizzes after the 5th lecture. But for some of you who have some problems, maybe in login or for any other reason, so I will post those questions today and we will answer them together. So you can pause the video and think about the question, and I will give you the solution just after. So you will play the video and you will continue with to know the correct answer. So you will have the quiz and the correction at the same time. So this is for those who can't reach the quiz online. So normally you are supposed to do it online, but if you can't, or if you have any other problem, I will give you another chance by resolving those quizzes today in our lecture. So I will resolve those quizzes today and you will see those quizzes now. So let's start our quizzes. As I told you, we have here 3 practice quizzes. The first one is warming up, the second one is an MCQ, and the third one is a true or false. So the first one, you will not have these kind of questions as the exam is just a warming up. So now let's find out how we will resolve the first quiz. So here we will check out how it will look like. And the first warming up quiz, we have 2 main questions. The first question is a little bit like we have to choose. We have many options and we have a specific field and we have to make choices. The first question is just to put elements in order. So here we have 5 elements, and we have in question 1 we have to put those elements into order. So here we have 5 elements, as you see. Of course, you know the conflict of laws mechanism. You can, so here I normally you have, if you look at the left of the screen, you have a countdown. You have the time left, so it is 10 minutes. So here you have a countdown. So normally you have, for this quiz, if you log in into the Moodle, you will have 2 attempts. For the 2 other tests, you will have only 1 attempt. And it's always 10 minutes for the 3 quizzes. So concerning the first question, let's now try to resolve this question. So you can pause, you can think about this question, how to resolve it, how can we put those elements in order. Then you can continue the video and look at the solution. So here we have renvoi, we have characterization, we have conflict rule, we have substantive law, and finally we have foreign element. So if we want to start, as you know, we start with foreign element, so we will put it at first. Then we have characterization. As you know, the primary characterization is lex4e, so we will follow with characterization. Then we have the characterization. As you know, the primary one will help us to find the conflict rule, so normally it will come after, so we have conflict rule. Then we have renvoi, it will come after. If we have, for legal systems, who adopts renvoi, we will have renvoi after the conflict rule, because maybe we can apply a foreign conflict rule. So this is renvoi, and finally we will apply a substantive law which will resolve the case. So this is the order, this is the answer to the first question, and I will show you the results at the end. Then we have the second question, and the second question we have to match the answers according to Egyptian law. So here we have 6 elements, and we will have to choose the correspondent answer. So we have, at first we have divorce, so we click on choose, and we have some options here. So the same options are in everyone, the same. We have the same options because it's like انك توصل, just to make this difference between the first column and 2 columns. But here we don't have columns, we have to click on choose, and we will choose the correct answer. So here we have divorce, we have primary characterization, we have real estate matters, we have secondary characterization, we have torts, we have finally succession. So here we will choose the correct answer among all those answers, so the best answer. So as you know, we can't choose an answer twice. As you know, here it's possible, but it's not correct. So for example, if I choose here the 2 same answers, it's not supposed to be correct, because normally you have only 1 correct answer for each one. So I don't recommend that you choose the same choice for 2 answers. So for example, for divorce, let's start with this one. The applicable law to divorce is, so now you can pause this video before I will show you the answer, so you can pause this video and read. So I will let you read the possible answers for each one. So you just make the correct answer for each one. So for example, you have divorce, we have lex4e, you have domicile of the deceased, you have person's national law, you have foreign law, you have lexitus, then you have freedom of choice, you have husband's nationality, lex causae, and finally lex loci delicti. And as you know, you have more options than the first column. This is normal because you have to leave at least 2 choices. يعني انت مش هتاخد كل الاختيارات، في اختيارات انت هتسيبها، لان مش الاختيارات على قد الموضوع. والسبب في كده ايه؟ السبب في كده ان انت لازم هتسيب 2، لان انت لو في نظام موصل لو عندك ال2 قد بعض، اكيد اخر واحده هتبقى هي اللي فاضله، فانت تختار لها اخر واحده، حتى لو انت مش عارفها هتبقى هي اللي فاضله، وانت متاكد مثلا من اول 5 وال6 دي هتبقى هي الاخيره، هي اللي فاضله، فانت هتخليها للاخر. فعشان يبقى الموضوع تبقى انت فعلا بتجاوب عن الاسئله مظبوط، هيبقى عندك اختيارين كمان زياده، فحتى السؤال الاخير هيبقى عندك 3 احتمالات منهم هتختار منهم، يعني مش هيبقى عندك قد دول بالظبط، لان لو دول قد دول بالظبط يبقى اخر واحده هتبقى هي اللي فاضله هتوصلها بالاخير. فده نظام موصل كده. طيب now I will answer this question, so I give you some time to read and to choose the correct answer. So now we have divorce. Divorce, as you know, it is according to husband's nationality. Concerning primary characterization, is applied of course, Lex 4E, Article 10, as you know. We have real estate matters. Real estate matters, as you know, it is where the real estate is situated. So it is Lex situs, where the immovable is situated. Secondary characterization. So as you know, primary characterization is Lex 4E. So of course it is Lex causae, so the applicable law. We have torts. Concerning torts, it is Lex loci delicti, this one. And finally we have succession. In Egyptian law, it is according to persons national law. So now we finished with those two questions. So this is the first one and this is the second one. So here we will click finish attempt, and now we will get the results and I will show you the results. So if you can have access to this website, it will be very good, so you can do it by yourself, but I recommend to do it before this video because here you will already know the answers. So here I click submit and finish. So here I have only 2 minutes remaining, so I am still respecting the schedule. So now I will submit and finish, and I will have the results just after I finish the quiz. So now it's loading. We will check out now the results. So here, as you see, we have it's all correct. You have the correct answer, so it's all in green, and here is correct, it's all in green, so you have full mark, which is 100% 11 out of 11. So this is the first quiz. As I told you, it is a warming up. You will not have this kind of questions for the final exam, just to warming up your mind so you can remember the main points of our subject. Now let's find out the second practice quiz. It is an MCQ, and as you know, you can have an MCQ the day of the exam, so be concentrated about this second practice quiz. So this quiz, we will make a preview. You will make this quiz, so it will you will have time 10 minutes, exactly like the first one. So I will, normally it is 1 minute per question, so I will try to be a little bit faster, but you can, as you know, you can pause the video and think about each question. So now we will start with the MCQ and we will answer each one. So we have 10 here, as you see, we have 10. At the left you have the timer as well, you have 10 questions. So let's start with the first one. The first one, the applicable law to a person's capacity matters is the law of. So as you know, according to Lizardi case, it is the law of nationality. So we will choose nationality. I will show you the second question. According to Egyptian PIL, the applicable law to divorce is related to, we just answered this question, it is concerning divorce is the husband's law. Third question, in the EU, the applicable regulation on divorce matters. So we have 4 choices, Rome 1, Rome 3, Rome 4, Rome 2. As you know here, the order of the answers is random. So maybe if you check this quiz, you can have the answers not in that order, the same order. Okay, so don't say to yourself, okay, this is the first one, this is A, this is B. I recommend that you read the answer itself, not the letter. Okay, even later you can have, you are not supposed to have the same order of the answers. So please read very well the answer and not the letter. So here we say the EU applicable regulation on divorce matters is. So here we will have to answer this question. So on divorce matters, the applicable regulation is Rome 3 regulation. The next question: in the EU, the applicable regulation on succession matters is, so concerning succession, as you know, we have a specific regulation concerning succession matters. So it is Rome 1, Brussels 1, Rome 2, none of those answers, so it's none of these answers because it is a specific regulation called succession regulation. So it is none of those answers. Question 5, concerning Lizardi case is about the applicable law 2. It is capacity, none of those answers. Marriage, torts. So Lizardi, as you remember, is a Mexican guy, so he didn't have the capacity, so it's concerning capacity. Concerning question 6, domicile of legal person could be the place where it has its. So here we talk about the legal person. So statutory seat, principal place of business, all of those answers, central administration. So in the book, as you see, we can have all those options. So we have 3 correct answers, so we would choose all those answers. Question 7. Exequatur is a decision of recognition of a foreign judgment, condition of enforcement of a foreign judgment, condition of enforcement of a domestic judgment, and finally decision of enforcement of a foreign judgment. As you know, recognition, it is, as I told you last lecture, concerning recognition, it is a way easier. So we don't need a procedure called exequatur for it. So it's not about recognition. And about the third option, condition of enforcement of a domestic judgment. Here we don't talk about domestic judgments, it's outside the PIL. So we don't talk about enforcement of domestic judgments. So here we have remaining, we have B and D. We have condition of enforcement of foreign judgments and decision. So we already talked about the condition of enforcement of foreign judgments, and exequatur is not among those conditions. So the last option, it is decision of enforcement of a foreign, it is a decision, as you know. It is a decision. So it is the last one, decision. Question 8. Lex causae stands for the. So here we talk about what does it mean. The expression lex causae. Is it the applicable law where the cause of action occurred, public policy rules, or domestic law? So here we talk about lex causae, it is law which will be applicable to the case. So here we talk about the first one, it is the applicable law. 9. Question: in succession matters, Egyptian international jurisdiction is based on concerning succession. Succession, location, nationality of the deceased, succession, opening, or all of those answers. And as you know, that concerning jurisdiction, we have 3 options, and all those options are correct. So we choose the final answer, it is D, all of those answers. And here we reach the final question in the second quiz, question 10. American exorbitant jurisdiction is based on, as you know, we talked about exorbitant jurisdiction, the jurisdiction privilege, and concerning American law, we have 4 choices. The first one is freedom of choice, doing business, property, location, and finally nationality. As you know, nationality is about French law. Property location is German law. So it is doing business. Freedom of choice in Egyptian law. So the final one is doing business in American law. So we choose this one and we will click finish attempt. And we have to submit. So we'll confirm our answers. So here we have all correct, as you see at the left of the screen. We have all correct, all in green, so it's all correct. So we have 100% here, 10 out of 10, 100% all correct. So now I try just to resolve this quiz with you. So we will have you'll see how it will look like and what are the correct answers. So now let's find out the third quiz. So we will go through the third quiz, which is true or false. True or false, of course, here we don't require a justification nor correcting the false answer. We just say if it is true or false. So we just put the sign. So we don't here require any justification. So here, as you see, we have 10, the same, we have 10 questions and we have 10 minutes. So we will resolve this quiz in 10 minutes like the two previous quizzes. So let's start with question 1. As you know, it may change. Of course, as I told you, you are not supposed to have the same question order in your website. So when you do it online, you can have other order. So it's not a problem. We just answer the questions. So we have question 1. Not yet answered. I will read the question. Unamar case was mainly about arbitration. So this is the sentence, and we will need to check if it's true or false. So Unamar case was mainly about arbitration. Is it true or false? Okay, of course, as you know, we talked about arbitration, but Unamar case is mainly about Luat police. So it's not about arbitration, or it's not mainly about arbitration. We don't talk about arbitration here. We talk, of course, it's about arbitration in just a subsidiary way, but the main part was about the loi de police. So it is false. Question 2. According to EU regulation, real estate matters are exclusively related to their situation. If we need to read every part of the question very carefully. Okay, we need to be careful because we can have some traps. Okay, some traps in, I won't call them tricks, but they may be traps. Okay, why? Because don't fall in those traps. So sometimes you can have a trap in the question. So read it very well and be concentrated. So here we say according EU regulation, the real estate matters are exclusively related to their situation. Of course, here we talk about Brussels 1 and Rome 1 regulation, applicable law and jurisdiction concerning real estate matters. So here we say that they are exclusively related to their situation. And as you know, that we have normally an exception. Of course, a restrictive exception, but we do have an exception. So here we say there are exclusively is not correct. The word exclusively is the key of our answer. So if we say exclusively, that means that we have the only answer. And this is not correct. Of course, if the same question for Egyptian law, it will be correct. But here is not correct, so we will check false. Question 3. The principle actor sequitur forum rei means that the defendant domiciles court is competent. And as you know, this is the general option, the defendant domicile, and this is true. Question 4. A conclusive judgment is always final. As you know, when we talk about a conclusive judgment, اللي هو بنسميها حكم البات, and final judgment is حكم نهائي. And as I told you, a conclusive judgment is always final, but not the opposite. The opposite is not correct. So a final judgment is not always a conclusive, but every conclusive judgment is always final. So it's true. Question 5. Egyptian law rejected renvoi theory. This is correct, as you know. The Egyptian civil code expressly rejected the renvoi theory. So it is true. Question 6. Foreign loi de police are applied the same way as domestic loi de police. And this is correct? No, of course not. Why? Because as I told you, the foreign loi de police are not applied the same way by the forum. They are treated the same way in their country, but not by the forum. So as you know, that the Loi de Police, the forums Loi de Police will be applied immediately, but foreign Loi de Police will not be applied immediately. So they are not applied the same way. So this is why I tell you, if you have an essay concerning conflict rule exclusion, you don't need to talk about foreign Loi de Police. So to answer this question, are applied the same way? No, it's false. They are not applied the same way. Question 7, Loi de Police and public policy exception use the same mechanism? Of course not. As you know, Loi de Police and public policy are completely different mechanisms. The first one is Loi de Police are applied immediately, and public policy exception will intervene by last. Will come when we have the solution is against forum's requirements of public policy. So here, Loi de Police and public policy don't use the same mechanism. So it is false. Question 8. Article 15 of French Civil Procedure Law is an example of subsidiary jurisdiction privilege. And here is the trap. What is the trap? Read the question very, very well and carefully and slowly, and you need to be concentrated. Here we talk about Article 15. And remember, when we talked about Article 15 concerning subsidiary jurisdiction privilege. And as you know, Article 14 and 15 is the only articles you should remember those articles, the number of those articles for the day of the exam. يعني أهم رقمين تبقى حافظهم. أنا مش مطلوب منكم أرقام المواد إلا في الجزئية دي بالذات بس، اللي هي أرتيكل 15 و14 من القانون اللي هنشوفه دلوقتي هنتكلم عن إيه. So here concerning question 8, Article 15 of French Civil Procedure Law. So once you see Article 15 and you see subsidiary jurisdiction privilege, you will say to yourself, it's true. Of course, Article 15 is concerning exorbitant jurisdiction. And this is not true. Why? Because here we talk about French Civil Procedure Law. And as you know, I told you the day of the lecture, when we talked about the subsidiary jurisdiction privilege, it is exception. Here we talk about jurisdiction, but the Article 15 and 14 are in French Civil Code and not Civil Procedure Law. So it is not correct. It is false because it is not the correct article. We talk about Article 15 in the French Civil Code and not Civil Procedure Law. So here it is false. Now let's find out question 9. According to EU regulations, freedom of choice was applied in the applicable law to succession matters in a restricted way. According to EU regulation, freedom of choice was applied in the applicable law to succession matters in a restricted way. And this is true, as you know, we concerning nationality. And we say that any person can choose to apply his national law to his succession, the day of the choice, or the day of as the date of the death, or his nationality. So here we have a freedom of choice, but it's a restricted way because it's only restricted to his national law. And of course, as you know, if he has more than one nationality, he can choose any of them. So it is true. Final question. Rome 3 regulation is applied to succession matters. Rome 3 regulation is applied to succession matters. As you know, and we said it before, that we have a specific regulation for succession. So here, Rome 3 regulation is not about succession matters because we have a specific regulation concerning conflict of laws, jurisdiction, and enforcement concerning succession. So we have only one regulation for succession, and we don't have. It's not concerned. So the other regulations, like such as Rome 1, Rome 2, Rome 3, are not concerned. So here it is false. So now we will finish our attempt and I will show you the results. So here we have only 1 minute remaining because I gave you some explanations. So here I think with you. So this is the maximum time you can have because I am answering and explaining each question. So here I have to confirm and submit. It is a final submitting. It's okay. We say okay, and now we will check the results. It takes some time. We still have some seconds remaining, and here we are. Here we are, and we have the results. We have here, if we check the left of the page, we have quiz navigation. We have the 10 correct answers. We can here click on any of them. For example, question 5 answer to check the results and the correct answer. For example, we click on 10, we will reach the last question, and here they are all green, all correct. So now you will have just an idea how you'll have this part of question. So as I told you, you can have an essay, and as an essay you are supposed to know how to write it, and you have now we made together this practice test about MCQ and true or false. So now you have an idea how can you read very well the question and how can you answer those questions. So finally, I will give you just some advices about the exam. Just be cool, don't be stressed. It's not so hard, it's easy. Just read the question very well and be concentrated, and it will be fine. So this is concerning the MCQ or the true or false and the essay. And finally, I wish you all success, and of course this is our last lecture, and if you have any question you can send me an email and I will answer you as soon as possible, and you will find the email in the description below under this video. And finally, I will tell you, my dear students, good luck everyone. See you.